Hi everybody, so now we will be discussing our next lesson, and that is going to be multi-step inequalities. So our goal will be to solve multi-step inequalities. So let's have this example wherein we have 9 plus 40 is greater than 21, and we need to graph our solution. So pretty much what we do in solving equations, we also do that in solving inequalities. And so our goal, as you can see, is to isolate our variable, which is t. So the first thing that we can do here will be to subtract 9 on both sides, since t is immediately attached to 4 by multiplication. So anything addition and subtraction needs to go away first. So 9 minus 9, this will be minus 9 also over here. And so on the left side of our inequality, we have a 4t. We still have our greater than. 21 minus 9 is now going to be 12. And for us to be able to isolate t, we have to undo the times 4. And so we need to divide by 4. Divide this by positive 4. That's now going to be 1. We also divide the right side by 4. So since we divided by a positive number, our inequality stays the same. That will still be a greater than. And 12 divided by 4 is going to be a 3. So our value of t is anything that is greater than 3. And if we are going to graph it, on our number line, we have 0 as our reference. Positive 3 is on the right side of 0. It's a hollow dot on 3, and the arrow is pointing to the right. Okay, let's have another example. Sorry, I overclicked again. So we have negative 6a minus 7 is less than or equal to 17. So again, check for our variable. It is multiplied to a certain number, and so we have to remove the other operations, and in this case we have to remove the minus 7. And to do that, we do the opposite operation. So we add 7 on both sides. So right now this is going to be a 0. We are ending up with a negative 6a is less than or equal to 17 plus 7. That's going to be 24. Okay, so we need to isolate our a, and a is multiplied to negative 6. It is not subtracted by 6. Okay, so we will divide by negative 6. Negative 6 divided by negative 6 is positive 1. All right, 24 will also be divided by 6. And so now our a, 24 divided by negative 6 is going to be negative 4. And if you would remember, we talked about multiplying or dividing by negative number, which affects our inequality. And so the original inequality, which is less than or equal to, now becomes a greater than or equal to, because we divided by negative 6. All right? So graphing, our reference is 0. Negative 4 is on the left side of 0. We will have a solid dot on negative 4, and our arrow is going to the right. Okay, so why don't you try these next two examples on your own and solve for the variables? Go ahead. And so our value for the variables, n will be less than 3, x will be less than 25. All right. As you can see in this solution, I switched already the inequality so that the variable already is on the left side. Like I said, it's a lot easier to do the graph when your variable is on the left side. So I switched over the inequality, made sure that the variable is by itself. Dividing by a negative number flips the inequality, and so this is how it would look like. All right. So let's have our next example, and this time this is an application problem. Okay, so we have a community garden. You want to fence in a vegetable garden that is adjacent to your friend's garden. So it's right here. You have at most 42 feet of fence. What are the possible lengths of your garden? So one thing that you need to know is, because we're talking about fencing, so this is going to be a perimeter problem, okay? So with perimeter, we know that we have 4 sides for our garden, okay, to keep to have the fence around it. All right, so if you would think of the perimeter is a rectangle, okay, so you know that you will have like four of them, okay. So we will have P is equal to, you have an X, an X, an X, and an X over here. Well, you already know that this length here is going to be 12 feet, all right? So you will have, how many 12 feet will you be using? You will be needing 2 of them, the one on the left side and then the one on the right side, okay? So you will have a 12 feet plus 12 feet, okay? Plus, we do not know the length here, the one on the top and the one at the bottom. And so, we represent it as our X, okay? And how many X's are we supposed to do with the fencing? 2 of them. So, we will have 2X over here, okay? So, perimeter formula is like this. But, if you would notice from the problem, it says there that we have at most 42 feet of fence available. So when we have at most, remember that this is going to be less than or equal to. And the perimeter that we are allowed, the amount of fence that we are allowed to have is 42 feet. And so this P over here will change to 42, okay? It is less than or equal to 12 plus 12, that's going to be 24, and then you have a plus 2x, okay? Oh, my bad, I'm sorry. 42 is higher than that. So I have to erase that part, sorry. All right, so just erase this part here. I got this one wrong, my bad. So it should be 24 plus 2x, that's the perimeter. It should be less than or equal to 42 because that's the allowed fence for us. So if you are going to solve for the length, which is x, so what we do here is we subtract by 24, and you will have 2x is now less than or equal to 42 minus 24 is going to be 18, and you divide by 2 on both sides, okay? And so the x, the length, should be less than or equal to 9, so that you can use 42 feet of fencing that is available, okay? So you can try out this next problem on your own. Go ahead, work this one out. So for this problem, if you draw the figure, you will have a rectangular banner. Length is 18. The W, the width is missing. And you know that when you talk about the trim, it's about the perimeter. So it's like the borders there. And so you will be adding the 2 lengths that are given and also add the 2 widths that we do not know. And according to the problem, you have no more than 48 feet. And so solving this inequality, the width of the banner has to be less than or equal to 6 feet so that you can use your trim, okay? Thank you.